Hello and welcome to the Life and Love podcast, a conversation designed to help you have healthy relationships, become the person you truly want to be, and overall get the most out of life.
We're your hosts, Dominic and Emily Whitfield. Thank you so much for joining, and stay tuned as we learn and grow together. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Life and Love podcast. As you can see, we're not in gray, cloudy Ohio. Cold, nasty Northwest. We are on the beautiful beaches of Haiti, here with some great people. We got Jeremiah, we got Laura over here, obviously my wife Emily as always. So we have a really good conversation coming up. We're going to talk about some pretty cool things, especially for this time, for this season that we're going through. As a country, as people, I think it's really important that we all just kind of sit back and reflect on the things that are important to us. So we're gonna just kind of get right into this. Sorry if the audio is not the best. We have beautiful waves crashing and different things happening, but we wanted to do this on the beach today because it is just so beautiful outside. So Jeremiah's gonna kick us off, bring us kind of the idea of the conversation today. So go ahead, Jeremiah.
So what's up, everybody? Thank you for listening and watching on YouTube. I'm so happy you guys are on YouTube now.
I know, we finally made it.
Yeah, I don't podcast, but I watch podcasts on YouTube. So the fact that it's here, I'm excited. I can watch it on TV.
We made it.
Yeah, so today, I think our conversation is just going to center around the idea of really seeing the bigger picture and the key word of just the key thought of zooming out, right?
Yeah.
And so just to kind of elaborate a little bit, it's I think probably God's been saying this to me a lot recently. It's when we zoom in on something, even if it's something so small, even if it's this shell or, a piece of trash in a photo, you can zoom in and it makes the photo look bad because it's so big, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But if you zoom out, you might see how beautiful something really is.
Yeah.
That's
so good.
Yeah.
And can we take a second to appreciate you brought the illustration?
I picked this up 2 seconds ago. But I was just thinking about it this could look huge if you zoomed in on this shot right now. This could be huge. And it might take away the attention of what's going on.
Yes. That's so true. I think it's such a good perspective too, because when there are some things that are going on in life, you can get so consumed with them, and they could be everything that you see, everything that you hear. Obviously, social media is going crazy right now with just, both sides of the political spectrum, going at one another. But here where we're at in Haiti, there's no bad news. There's nothing crazy going on here. We're just enjoying the sun, the ocean, each other. And this is kind of a time where us four and everybody that's on this trip have been able to zoom out from life, so to speak, and kind of refresh.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's when you get so pointed in on something, when you're in your life, things, the situations, the people that are around you, it can make you feel like that's everything.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
When in reality, it's not.
Yeah.
Our small circles and our small spheres of influence are not the whole world.
Right.
And when you take that time to zoom out and look at the whole picture, you realize
it's not really that big of a deal.
Yeah.
No, and there are things that are important. So don't think this is everything's.
Yeah, nothing matters.
No.
Go on vacation and it'll be okay.
Everything will be fine. But it's if we actually took the time to just let's not focus on that little piece of trash in the picture, and let's focus on this beautiful beach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. And I think too, it's such a fitting example being here in Haiti, because Haiti is a beautiful, beautiful country. If you've ever been to Haiti, it's amazing. For those of you who haven't been here, you need to come and visit. It's incredible. But, it has its struggles. It has its shortcomings. It's not perfect. The government's definitely flawed. There's a lot of things that are wrong with the country. This is a strong sneeze.
Sorry.
But if you can focus on those things. Like Jeremiah said, there's trash on the beach. You can focus on the dirt, the dust, all the negative things, but you miss out on this.
Yeah.
This is incredible,
You get the mountains and the ocean here.
Yeah.
It's really incredible.
Yeah. Okay, so Laura, let me ask you a question. What in your life, when do you realize that you've been too focused with something? Is there a moment that you get to where you're okay, I need to take a step back. This is getting intense.
Sure. I mean, I guess two things. Well, there's probably more than two things, but for sure, when I feel just super overwhelmed or just me, my problems, blah, blah, blah. And And I think even situations, it can be something like this where, even where you're, walking along someone, like we have just this weekend, you whether it's driving or walking or whatnot, we see just other people living. And I think it just helps with perspective of like, because I think it's so easy to just, you live, focus on yourself, and I think a lot of that is, it's just perspective of like what matters. And I think, just like I said, I think that it's times like this where you kind of realize even just like how small you are. I think especially where we live, and we just get caught up in like the tiny little things that seem huge, and they seem like such a big deal and such like the end of the world for us. And then you have a conversation with someone who, their life has been turned upside down, and I can't even imagine necessarily like how I would react to something like that. So it's just it's good.
So for you, like being able to like take your focus off of yourself and really like get into other people's, not like issues, but like their life, like their reality, helps you gain perspective on your own sometimes. Like, I think that's really cool, because we can get so me focused, like our own, what we have going on, our problems, our issues. We forget that the world is living, like people are living their lives too, and it's not always easy.
And I think that's what causes, like, when you talk about division and hate for different groups, it's that zoomed in perspective. Because you're so focused on what you need to think to be right and what you think has to be the absolute, that you're not able to see the bigger picture of like, oh, these are all people. And every single person has an issue. Every single person has a struggle. And you can't identify because you're so
caught up in the issue.
So close on what you care about and what you think that you aren't even open enough to see that everybody is in this photo. You know?
That's so good. And like, too, I think that we struggle with problems so much and we focus on ourselves that, like, if we were to open up and kind of take, like, to use our idea or our word, zoom out, we'll realize that we're not struggling alone. And I think that makes it easier to realize that, like, oh, Laura's going through the same thing. I don't have to, like, struggle myself. We can get together and kind of figure this out together. But you can't do that when you're just so tunnel vision, like tunnel focus. Let me ask you guys a question, because this is cool too. So like in the Bible, David says this about God. He says that God restores his soul. He's a restorer of your soul. And when you brought up the topic of like zooming out, and obviously we're here and we're just kind of enjoying vacation, what is something that restores your soul? Because I feel like, well, let me set this up. I feel like a lot of people don't put enough emphasis or importance on restoring your soul, or like doing things that make you happy, or doing things that like give you life, right? Like a lot, like especially in like American culture, it's like grind, hustle, work, do, pack your schedule up, and then we find ourselves burnt out and we're like, oh my goodness, what the world? It's because you haven't restored your soul, right? So what are some things that you guys do to restore your soul?
Laura, go first.
I was going to say, ladies.
We'll start down here and go this way.
We'll go down the road.
I feel like I'm kind of passionate about this because I'm a social worker, number one. So, like, they always talk about self-care, which is important. But I also know that, like, for me, self-care only goes so far. So, like, I could go on a beach and I could get a pedicure and I could get my hair done and I could sit in a bubble bath. There are a million things for like self-care, or for me, like self-care is like maybe spending time reading and like not having any pressures outside of that, or watching a movie or something. But I think ultimately, like, restoring my soul looks like time with the Lord. So like being refreshed in that way, because you can seek after being satisfied and being like filled up by worldly things, which is great and like important and needed, and it's not a bad thing to like go on vacation and treat yourself. But like ultimately, where is true satisfaction? Like where does that come from, and like where are we getting that? So I think my soul being restored will come from the Lord, like from the Word, from being with the Lord, from prayer, worship, stuff like that. So
it's that time. It's good.
Yeah, I would have to agree as well. Because I think as women, we enjoy
all those worldly things like nails done and those things that I think the world sees as like how you are refreshed and restored. But like she said, just time in worship and prayer and the word, like that's truly where true joy comes from and strength comes from. And and we kind of talked about this when we just did our last podcast, but just doing things that bring you joy. And I think for us, it's just a major thing just to be able to like do fun things with our children.
That's
and
big.
like their happiness brings us happiness. And so for us, that's a major thing. I think we need to do this again, but I think last year, every Monday we have off, and so every Monday we would pick to do something with the kids, especially in the winter because
it's gross.
It's so dead and cold and gross outside, and the last thing you want to do is get outside. But once you do, it just refreshes you. So that would be for me.
That's good.
I think like for me, I guess I don't really have an answer to my own question, but
how are you gonna ask it and then not have something to say?
I was listening to you guys.
Wanted to hear what we had to say.
But I do have an answer. I think mine like is being able to like provide things of like value to people, like this right here, like doing a podcast. It's very like some people think I gotta do this, like I don't want to do this. Like this is exciting for me, like fulfilling. I love it. Like it's fulfilling, and it's not like a prideful thing, like, oh, let me help you. It's just I think it's something that comes from just like, I love bringing value to situations, and I feel like if we can do anything to bring value to your life or do anything like that, like that's what gets me excited in the morning, you know? So I think just having time to do that, because like, Emily and I are pastors, if you didn't know that. I know many of you did, but the pastor life can kind of get monotonous from time to time, like, and you'd think, oh, you're a pastor, you provide a lot of value to people. Like, yes and no. There's a lot of like running around and doing this and doing like little tedious tasks, and sometimes if I'm not careful, I'll find myself like consumed with a little like minutia of our job and kind of forget to do what I'm passionate about. And so like I have to take a step back, like we said, zoom out and really say like, okay, what's important for me to do today? Like, all right, well, let me sit down and do this video, or let me write this, or let me do something where I can like really walk in what I feel like God's called me to. I feel like that's something that really sits well with my soul. My soul. All right, Jeremiah.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of what you guys said was exactly right, but
you can't take our answers.
I won't. No, I won't. But like, I think my thing is too, because I'm very like business minded, like entrepreneurial minded, like if there's money on the table, I'm gonna go make it. But oftentimes it's like, okay, am I living to work or am I working to live? And I think not having those two things in check can be very dangerous, especially in a place like America, because I lived here for a year and it was a different lifestyle. Obviously, you're relaxing. I'm swimming in the ocean every day. Like, you guys are here, you understand it. But when you're in America and there's a 24/7 clock running where it's always money available to be made 24/7, it's like, okay, this is what I'm living for. And if you're not careful, you can get in that cycle of, I'm living to work. I'm literally living to work. What am I trying to do? Like, what are my goals? What am I focusing on? And you just sitting there living to make as much money as you possibly can. Where it should be the other way around, where you're working so that you can have real life. You know?
That's so good. I'm thinking, so like, I don't know if you guys would want to answer this question. We might get pretty personal and like deep, but I'm just thinking, because like a lot of times it's easier said than done to like zoom out, you know, like. And what comes to my mind is specifically for some reason is like relationships. Like, have you ever had to take a step back from a relationship that was important to you, because whether it was just unhealthy in general, or maybe just for that moment it was unhealthy, or like you were unhealthy, or whatever the case is, like, was there a moment where you were like, okay, hold on, time out? You know? What was that like, zooming out of a relationship?
I feel like, I don't know. I know we both have experienced that. Probably around at the same time too. But you get so caught up in like your feelings, and you're like, oh, but this could work, and you know, and you want to get married and you want to do all these things, but then it's like, but there's something not right.
It's not right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like there's something still like not working.
Yeah.
And I think when I met him, I felt that peace, and then that's kind of how I knew like we were supposed to be together. But yeah, I definitely had to take a zoom out before Dominic.
Yeah.
couple zoom outs.
Yeah.
Couple zooms out. Yeah,
Couple pictures you were a little too close in on.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's crazy too with like 2020 vision, how you can look back and see like, oh,
Yeah.
that
Like,
all
what in
happened
the
for a reason.
world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the moment, I think it's hard to like to take a step back. Like
It
it's really
is.
hard to take a
Yeah.
step back.
It is.
Because you're so caught up again in the emotions and in
Yeah.
like the thinking of the future and well, what if this or what if that?
That's why they call it love blind.
Yeah, it's true. So what are some things that you can do in relationships, but in general, like, obviously it's hard to like step back in that moment. Like, what do you do to step back? Like, are there things that you can do?
As far as just relationships or work, like what?
Yeah, I mean,
in
maybe
what
in
context?
general.
Just in general?
You
Are
can
you
answer
talking
the
about,
context you want to.
like
Yeah.
taking a step back forever or like just temporarily?
I don't know. Whatever you think. I'm just thinking
That's
like,
a really
okay,
good
we'll take
context.
Emily's context, right? Where she said she was in a relationship, she needed to zoom back. Like, did you just wake up one day and say, "Oh, I've got to zoom back"? Like, right? Like, how? What are some ways where you understood, like, oh man, this is the right decision? You know?
For me, it was just talking with other people and how they saw my life. Because I know when you are in situations like that, going to the people that are around you, how do you see this?
Right,
How do you see my situation?
Other people's eyes.
Other
on the
people's eyes,
situation.
because it's a different perspective.
Yeah.
And so it's the people that are closest to you that probably can be honest and say what they see. But I think for me it was my mom, because she knows me and she knew the situation, and she said, I don't know, Emily. So I think people.
Yeah,
That's one thing.
I think too, like outside of like the relationship context of it, like anytime you start to feel those negative emotions towards others, or even extreme emotions about like situations, I think that's like a key indicator of like, okay, before I go into full panic attack and anxiety mode, like let's see what's good. Like, let me take a second, because I think that's kind of where we get wild. We're sitting there like, oh my gosh, the world's ending. Like, or I hate this person so much because they think that, or oh, they voted. Oh my God. Like, bro, if you start to feel like that, like, take your second, take a minute. Go ahead and use your fingers and zoom
out.
Use your hands, because it's probably you need to use your whole like on some
fingers.
Iron Man stuff, like just straight like swipe out of the whole screen and it'd be like, all right, let's look at my life, let's look at these people's life, and let's see everything for what it actually is.
I love that too, because I think a lot of times emotions get a bad rap. Like, we're always talking about like defeating our emotions or overcoming our emotions. Like,
they're great indicators.
God gave us emotions for a reason. We shouldn't be led by them, but they should influence us and nudge us along the way, and like you said, be indicators of what's going on in life. And so being aware of how you feel, like if you feel like crap, well, there's a reason for that. Don't just push through, like figure it out, zoom out, remove things. I love what you said too about people, because
the other eyes.
I feel like maybe it's a guy thing, maybe it's just me, but I feel like guys or me, we like to fix our own problems and other people's problems. So like taking issues to other people is really difficult. So like having that person in my life where I can, number one, just open up about it to in general, and then ask for advice, like, ooh, that's tough. But that's something that, like, looking back on a lot of situations, I'm like, man, if I had that, or if I did that, ooh, I would have missed that crazy time.
Dang,
They all know what I'm talking about.
Well, and I think too, what's hard is like, and maybe this is a girl thing, but I think too, like girls, like sometimes there's a struggle with like oversharing and like going to every Jack and Jane and being like, hey, I'm so frustrated, or like, and especially if it's like heavy on your heart, or like you're really struggling with something and you tell everyone, and some people aren't like, they aren't trustworthy, or like they shouldn't be told, because they're not going to give you advice that you, even that's maybe godly advice, or that's like advice that you should be seeking out. So I think that's boundaries, just knowing boundaries too with sharing stuff. And
I'm glad you said that. Yeah. That's so true.
So good. That's cool. Any like,
the beach, guys.
I know. I want to like have a little, like one, maybe 5 minute more of a conversation about something else. But any last thoughts about zooming out?
thought I had something earlier and I can't remember what it was.
Well, I'll share mine while you guys think. My last thought is this, like, this has to be a priority. Like, it can't be something that you just, like, oh, I'll just deal with my emotions or deal with this negative situation later. Like, you have to prioritize the well-being of your soul, your emotions, your body. Like, honestly, coming on this vacation was a little bit hesitant for me and me and Emily.
I wasn't hesitant.
He wasn't hesitant. But me and Emily, because like we don't have a ton of money to go on vacation, and Emily because she doesn't leave our kids that often. So we both were kind of like, I don't know if we want to go, and Jeremiah really pushed us to go. And being here, like, I'm so thankful because like this is what we both needed, to just take a moment to step back from life, to enjoy God's beautiful creation, enjoy like our family, each other. And so like having that opportunity to just really step back has been amazing. So you have to prioritize it. You have to make it important to you. Make it a big part of your life.
And that doesn't mean going on crazy vacations.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't have to be that.
It means it's everything little too at the same time.
For sure.
Yeah.
So we've been in Haiti for a few days now. We started out in Cap Haitian, visited the Citadel. We did a lot of really cool things. We're in Moe right now. But what is your guys' favorite part about this trip? Favorite part?
You want me to go
this trip?
Yeah,
you guys still thinking?
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
So I think for me, just getting to enjoy like my family and people in my life that I get to enjoy at home. Kind of like you guys said, I really wanted you guys to come because it's like they work super hard. You guys see them on the podcast all the time. They are always doing photography and church and everything, but it's like I saw that you guys are like needed. You know what I mean? Like I was like, yo, y'all need to go. Like y'all need to take a time and actually go and have fun. I think I told you, Emily, when we were in the store, I was like, y'all aren't old enough to like pack it up and
be
done with being young. Like y'all are still young. Like y'all got it. So like just seeing you guys get to like have fun like independently and just do that has been fun. Having Laura see things for the first time, both of you guys, like that's always super exciting for me because Haiti's a place that I genuinely enjoy being in every second of, and so you get to bring other people in. It's always rewarding, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think it's been really cool to see, because I've heard about Haiti for so long from you guys, and just the people and the stories, and to be able to be here and like put faces to names, and even seeing what goes on in the streets. I'm not gonna lie, it was like a good 10-minute culture shock.
Yeah,
it always is.
It is. Yeah.
I was like, I'm just gonna close my eyes.
The driving here is a little scary.
Yeah,
but honestly, now it's like, okay, I can trust these people who are driving because they do this every day. But I think the coolest part is just being able to like experience a different culture.
Yeah.
Like we don't travel out of the country often. We don't see things like this.
Yeah.
I think it was a very good perspective as well to zoom out a little bit to see how the people here live is insane. Yeah. And can't imagine like living that way ever. And it's very humbling. It's very like I don't know how to describe it. It's just you kind of have to see it for your own self. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. Laura.
Yeah, going along the same lines, I think culture too for me. Like I love culture anywhere, and just finding out like how do these people live. I think one of my first questions was like, what is a signature? Or what did I?
You're like, what is Haiti known for?
Yeah, what's Haiti known for? Like, what's its trademark? Because I want to like eat that right away, and I want to buy something that's like known by Haitians and stuff like that. Because I just love. I don't know. I don't want to like swoop in and just be like, oh, I'm gonna live.
Give me a cheeseburger and pizza.
Yeah. And I just like, I don't know. That's important to me, and I think just
experiencing the culture.
100%. Yeah. And being with you guys too. I mean, Emily and I were roommates, and Dom, we all went to school together. So, and Jeremiah, I mean, we met years ago. So it's just fun spending extended time.
And y'all have been fearless. Like that's what I was gonna say. You guys have been like
eating stuff.
They're eating everything. They're trying everything.
Actually, you have surprised me. Emily's like, I'll take one. I'm like,
Emily's like trotting down on a horse down a mountain.
Listen,
like, come on, Jeremiah, let's go.
Or the first night, Emily's like, I'm gonna get the shrimp, and Dom was like, you're ready to get shrimp right now.
Yeah.
I love
fearless.
shrimp. I love horses.
Crazy.
Pretty sure I had goat for breakfast and didn't even know
She's
it. It
not-
was so
yeah.
good.
She's
No
like, this
fear.
chicken's good.
Right.
No, I did not say chicken. I
It's
said
not
beef.
chicken. Oh, it was beef.
No fear.
I said
no
beef.
fear.
I was like, I think it's beef. And then Jeremiah said, I think it's goat.
Yeah.
Let's go.
What's your
That
favorite
breed.
part, Dom?
I think my favorite part, like obviously, all of what you guys said. So I'm not gonna
Yeah.
repeat you guys, but I'm gonna do the cheesy part. But my favorite part is the Citadel. I think that's so
Yeah.
cool. Like, so obviously there's a long history, but there's a big castle in Cap Haitian that you can go up to and visit, and it's like a big fortress. And we got to ride horses up there. It was crazy. Like it was so fun. So
And motorcycles.
yeah, motorcycles, like it was just insane. But look it up, Google it, check it out. Like you need to come here and visit it. It's amazing. But we also, so stay tuned. We got a little vlog coming later in the week, so that'll go live probably at the end of the week or the beginning of next week. Just to kind of recap and show you guys what exactly we're talking about. But yeah, we're just excited we got to come here and have this conversation on the beach with the waves crashing in the background.
If only we had this every week.
I know, it's crazy. I'm so
Then we wouldn't
I
appreciate
don't
it
want
as
to
much.
leave. I
This
know.
is true.
So we're actually going to get ready to go swimming
At our
and
private beach.
snorkeling and cliff diving and all that stuff. So we'll catch you guys later. Remember to stay tuned. Anything else they need to know?
Like, share, subscribe. Or
Oh
what's
my God.
What is it?
Smash that like button.
What is your? Don't you have like a?
I don't know.
Live right, love everyone.
Yes,
pray
live right,
hard.
love everyone, pray hard. We'll see you guys next week. Unfortunately, not from the sandy beaches of Haiti. We'll be back. But we love you guys very much. Thank you. And with that, we wrap up another great conversation. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you guys next week.
As always, live right, love everyone, and pray hard.